Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Today's video is going to be a rambling fish room 3D printer business update video. Just try to fill you guys in on as much information as I possibly can and try to keep it under 10 or 15 minutes hopefully. We'll see. So I want to talk about some personal stuff. I wanted to talk about what's going on here with the Trident, a little bit of update on the 300 nutrient wise, and I wanted to talk about and address some of the concerns you guys had regarding the 3D printer stuff. I'm pretty sure that I fixed the filament issue. The processing time is 1,000 times better. I've implemented a few other things, and I've also set up a new notification and tracking on the website, which is going to make it a lot easier for you guys to keep track of everything going on. So we're going to talk about all that here in this video, and yeah, so let's go and get started. Now, first things first, a more personal note here. So if you guys have been here for a long time and been subscribed for multiple years, you probably noticed in around October and November of 2020, my video content or the amount of videos or frequency of videos drastically dropped off. So I mention that now because within the next 30 days or so, I should be done with my long, painful, very expensive custody battle for my 3 boys, and that should be ending here in the next month or so if everything goes well, and hopefully life will go back to normal, because anybody who's gone through that now, I mean, it's just the way it is. Relationships are the way they are this day and age. People are always splitting up. What is it? Marriages are like, what, 50% or 60% at this point? Divorce? Either way, a lot of you guys are watching this probably already know what I'm talking about, and probably have felt it. It's definitely a painful experience. It consumes you mentally and physically. And with that, I'll be honest with you guys, I really wasn't up for making content. It just was not something that I wanted to do. I really wasn't interested in spending a lot of time. Now, of course, this is my business, so sometimes I have to force myself to do things that I don't want to do, and I'm sure it showed in a lot of videos. But hopefully this will be done and life will go back to normal with the boys and I, and we can start getting content and DIY projects and all sorts of stuff back to normal, and really start enjoying making content again. So with that said, I just figured I'd fill you guys in. Wish me luck on that. Hopefully we will be done with that whole situation real quick. Now, moving on to the 300-gallon reef. So as you guys notice, there is a 1-gallon jug here. Now this is just a freshly mixed batch of salt water to 1.026. And what's going on is I actually have the inlet or the feed line that would normally be in the sump here. I have that going into this because over the last several weeks, I've been getting some weird fluctuations with the Trident. I've been getting some tests be failures. Now I've been messing with the Trident for a couple years now. It's actually, I think I got it a few months after they introduced it. It's been a while. So this is actually the replacement Trident. I sent in, I paid like the $300 or $200, whatever it was after the rebate, and they sent me a brand new Trident, or a refurbished one, which replaced the one before. Now, the issue I'm having is that, like I said, it's failing the test. I'm getting some weird fluctuations, like, and I double check these with the Trident. So, for example, in the morning, a test at 6 a.m., I'd get it like 8.5 ALK, right? So we'll just say 8, for example. And then in the afternoon, it'd be up to 9 or 10. But yet I would double check, and I did this before I reached out to customer service. So I double checked with my HANA, because I know the HANA is off, but I double checked the jump. So for example, the HANA said 9 at 6 a.m. when I tested there. And then when I tested in the evening, I had like maybe an 8.5 or an 8.7 because it came down a little bit with the growth throughout the day, but yet it went up 1 or 2 points with the Trident. So obviously there's something going on. I took it completely apart the other day and I flushed all the lines, put it back together, brand new reagent, calibrated. I even took it off the system, reset the entire Trident, and I'm still getting it. So what we're doing now is we're gonna pull from this this jug of water, which is a consistent levels. I'm gonna do that over the next few days just to see if I'm still getting the fluctuations, because if I'm still getting the fluctuations, that means that there's something going on with that, because obviously there's nothing in this water other than maybe a little bit of evaporation, which I'm gonna put the cover back on here. It fell off, so that should help the evaporation, but there's not gonna be anything in there that's going to impact the alkalinity and calcium like it would if it was in the 300, consumption wise. So yeah, I'll fill you guys in on that. But either way, per usual, Neptune's really good customer service. They're always quick to get back to me. This is just part of the troubleshooting. So either way, I really do like the Trident, but again, I always have my I'll show you guys. I'm working on a printer here, so I always have my test kits, just to double check. We got the Milwaukee, and then of course the ALK for the HANA, and then phosphates and nitrates. So yeah, I always double check with them because why not, right? redundancy, just to double check. But I'll let you guys know, and we'll go from there. Now, one thing I did do is my feed line for the Trident is actually over here. I've 3D printed a little holder for it. It drops down kind of where the probes are. And one thing I noticed, and this is part of the process of fixing it, is I noticed with my strainers here that I'd get a little bit of micro bubbles passing through the bottom of the sump. So I went ahead and 3D printed the other version of it, which is basically a solid block, which blocks out the entire, trying to reach the entire section, so the water just will go through these three, and it avoids the micro bubbles from hitting the probes or the inlet for the Trident. So that worked out pretty good. Outside of that, 300's doing pretty well. I kind of dialed my skimmate back a little bit because I was having an issue keeping my nutrients up, and I am dosing 100 and I think I'm at 150. I can double check. Between 100 and 150 milliliters of NO3 a day through the dose. So that's what's keeping my nitrates where they should be, which they're around 10 right now, which is actually pretty nice. I had a hard time getting them up above 5, and once it hit 10, just everything seemed a lot happier in the tank. So dosing that to make sure that my nitrates are good. Phosphate wise, I'm just feeding the fish my homemade fish food, which has quite a bit of nori and broccoli in it, so that's taking care of the phosphates, not really having any issues keeping the phosphates where they are, so that's good. Refugium's growing good. Speaking of that, guys, I'm not selling Chaeto until the weather gets much better. And just the way it is. I had a lot of DOAs on Chaeto over the winter, and I just stopped because I didn't want to do that, and I don't feel comfortable charging you $30 to ship Chaeto overnight. I mean, if you want to, you can, but that just seems, I don't know, man. I mean, there's probably a better way to go about getting it locally than spending all that money. I'm not in the business of, I feel like I'm ripping people off. Even though it's going to the shipping company, it still doesn't feel right. Outside of that, I have all but 3 or 2 of the giant snails in the refugium there. If you're interested in those, let me know. They're probably going to go for like 20 bucks a pop. They're big boys. They're big. So if you're interested in having a massive snail in your tank, hit me up. Yeah, I think that's it. Outside of that, I can't really, everything's good. CO2 scrubber's good. Everything's good. pH is good. Now, I guess I can address this. I use a CO2 scrubber on the skimmer, but I'm also dosing calc with the calcium reactor, so I'm getting the pH benefits of the calc. A lot of people are asking me, what am I doing besides the CO2 scrubber? So the combination of a 5,000 milliliters a day of the calc on top of the calcium reactor, because if I'm dosing calc, I don't have to have the pH of the effluent as low, which means I don't have to use the reactor as much, and that, of course, increases the pH with the CO2 scrubber, and then that is where I will I'll have increased growth around that. I'm getting about 8.2 on an average day, maybe 8.25 if I leave the back door open. Either way, if I open up the lights and everything and let even more air or CO2 escape, it's definitely not too bad and better than it has been with the calcium reactor. So I think that's it. Outside of that, frag tank wise, only doing WYSIWYGs at the moment. I do have mainly WYSIWYGs. And basically, I have multiples of like a bunch of acros that are up there as well. So WYSIWYGs is kind of my thing right now as we're growing out the 300. And yeah, and I added a new pack, which is the U-Pick pack, or Surprise Me pack, I think it was called. It was very popular a year or two ago, so I brought it back. Basically, it's a discounted price on coral, significantly discounted, and I pick you a bunch of healthy frags that I think you'd like. You can even put in the notes section what kind of tank you have, and I will pick frags that will fit that for you. Or if you're a beginner or advanced hobbyist, you can put that in the notes section. I'll pick a bunch of random frags. It's a good discount for you guys. You can get a lot of stuff relatively cheap. And yeah, so I brought that back per request. Outside of that, NEM tank is doing pretty good. I did get a 6-line RAS for this tank because I wanted to have one. I really like having one in general. It's a really nice RAS. But I think he had an attitude problem with the clowns. I don't know what happened, but he's missing, man. He's gone. So I don't know. I think the clowns are pretty. I won't lie. Tomato clowns are just a bunch of jerks, and I have 3 of them in there. I'm gonna get some more, and I have a chromis, or damsel, which is doing just fine. But they are kind of the same species, right? To a certain extent. The clowns are just jerks. They're just like this dudette. Sorry. She's cool until you put your hand anywhere in the tank. But yeah. So rest in peace to the 6 line. I got to get me another one of those. All right, so moving over to the 3D printer stuff. All printers are up. I am just changing out some springs on one of them over here, the number 5. right there. But I listen to your guys' feedback. Like I said, I don't make decisions on the business until I get feedback from you guys. It's just the way it is. So I asked you guys what you wanted. A lot of you said colors. A lot of you said black. What I did is I went into my analytics over the last 2 years of 3D printing, and I picked the top colors, and I'm sticking with those. So right now it's black, white, blue, red, and orange, and that goes through. And you can see that. Remember last time you guys saw this whole board was full of orders that were waiting. Not anymore. Cutting out those colors was really nice. I went ahead and I mass ordered filament. Now the issue that I'm having with the filament, and I mentioned this before, is that a lot of you guys think that filament just lasts forever. Unfortunately, down here, even if it is what's the humidity down here? Let's check. Pretty good yesterday. So we're at 77 degrees down here, but we're at 35% humidity, which is pretty decent. That's usually between 35 and 45 all year long. Even with that, if you open up a roll of filament, it can only sit on this rack so long. You can't have that stuff sitting around because then it gets brittle, breaks off. It's a mess. It can't last that long. The issue I was having is with all the colors, I was ordering in filament. Not only was there delays with filament, and you guys heard this in the whole video before, so I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but long story short, a lot of filament went bad. If I ordered too much of it, if I bought a lot of it, it would go bad. Even if it was vacuum sealed, there's something about the vacuum seal wasn't vacuum sealed. It's weird. Over time, the air would escape completely. I noticed it, and the filament would just crack and be dead before I could even use it. So I lost a lot of money in that. So the issue was with trying to balance getting enough in, just having enough in, and getting orders out and processing that. And it was a huge pain. But with me lowering the amount of colors that I have, so again, it's black, red, white, and blue, and orange. I kept orange because you guys like the glowy stuff in the tank, so cool. I'll keep that for you. So bringing the amount of colors from 16 down to just those 5 was a very good decision to make. Less filament in, I can keep orders organized, and we're good to go. Now, speaking of that, I went ahead and I added a order lookup on the page. So you guys are going to get automatic notifications when your order comes in. It's going to say, hey, welcome to the order lookup thing. And then every time your order moves through the process, regardless if it's 3D printing or coral or supplements, whatever, you're going to get a notification which you can click on. You'll see the update. You can go to the website, you can click on it and see exactly where your order is in the process. It's pretty efficient, and I actually like it, and it keeps everybody in the loop. So right now, processing time for 3D printing orders is under a week. Unless it's a massive order, everything is under a week, which is a lot better than the 3 to 5 weeks that it has been over the last several months. So I feel good about the decision I made. I appreciate the feedback that you guys gave me. Like I said, I don't like to make any decisions unless you guys, give me some feedback first. It's just kind of how it is. I mean, I didn't go to business school. I went to the military. I went to the Army. I went to Afghanistan. I didn't go to business school. So I literally, everything that you guys have seen me do over the last several years is all trial and error. Everything from the 125 and all the mistakes I made to the business the way it is, it's just trial and error and feedback from you guys. So I appreciate it. I truly do, and I mean that. So with that said, guys, I'm going to let you go. We're at 13 minutes. I think that's everything. The Reef Tanks for Veteran video is done. I just got uploaded. You guys will get that here soon. And yeah, that's it. Appreciate you guys being here. Any questions, let me know. If you want to support the channel, Fishofhex.com, buy 3, get 1 free per usual. New frag packs, you guys have already said. And yeah, any questions, let me know. See you later. Peace.